Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable. Did you know that it's Wednesday, August 26th? Can you believe that? Jeez, where's the time going, huh? Well, welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me this afternoon or this evening, wherever you are around Grandmother Earth. Thank you to those that are in the Facebook live chat with me and those that are joining me via YouTube live chat. Thank you. Because our partners at Be Live TV, it used to be, but Be Live, they're the ones that we partnered with, so we can do those kind of interviews where we have more than just a couple people, and also the really cool kind of graphic stuff that we have on the screen. So thanks to Be Live, we're able to simulcast now to YouTube. So I think that is so cool. It's taken a long time for us to get to this point. I know that there's other products out there, but you just have to kind of see if it really resonates with you, right? And I just had to wait for our partners at Be Live to launch their piece. So welcome, everyone. So glad you're here. Yay, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. And I have to tell you, I don't know about you, but this morning was flat out busy here. Now, I wish I could say I was working on so much Star Nation stuff that the time was just really in a crunch, but no. It was all either family or house stuff. I had a plumber here. I had the house cleaner here. My mom needed me, and telephone calls, and George, and yeah, it was a full morning. But we had some plumbing stuff that needed to get done, and yay, it's finally done, and we don't have to think about it anymore. And let me tell you, the repair guy, man, he was so nice, and yeah, I think he did a really good job for us. So I'm happy to get started. Before we get too far down the road, though, what I'd like to do is to invite you to send this live stream to a friend or family member, somebody who you think would enjoy a spiritual conversation, because the cards that were drawn today, I think we're going to have a good conversation around them. And I'm going to do the same thing. I've got my phone, and I am going to be sending it out over to my news feed. And just to let everybody know. And also, I've promised a few people that when I am live streaming, that I would let them know. And I'm doing that right now. See, I'm missing somebody. Rochelle, that's it. Rochelle. Whoops. Got to spell it right. And we have, forget Deb. There we go. All right. I think we got everybody. I think. I hope I did that right. So much has changed with Facebook. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Yeah. Facebook, from what I understand, they have like 6 different versions going on all over the world. And just because we're watching something or have something on our screen may not be the same way someone else is watching it, right? Or seeing it. And recently, my screen completely changed on my phone and on my iPad. Not so much on my laptop, but my mobile devices. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I can't find some buttons. Don't you just hate that? You just get used to something and it gets changed. It's kind of like when the grocery store decides they're going to change where they locate things, and you go in and you're in and out, right? Until they do that, and then you're wandering around the store thinking, where's this or where's that? It's kind of the same thing. Okay, now today's show is going to be just a little bit shorter than usual, because we have another show coming up right behind me on Star Nation's live streams, and that is Nature Connections with Minnie Kansman. And so I want to make sure I give you guys enough time to join her if you'd like to. Okay, so this is the deck that we're using today, Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark. And what this show is all about is in the mornings, on Wednesday mornings, I meet with my spiritual team, and I ask them to show me what is the energy that's flowing this week that's important for us to know about, to help us with our soul growth, our soul contract, and most importantly is to remember our joy. right? And so this morning I received 2 cards, and I'm going to show them to you, and we're going to have a discussion about them. All right. So, hey, I see Nan is with us, and so is Sally, and so is Lemon Tree. I don't know who Lemon Tree is. Hi, guys. Good to have you here. Okay, let's get started. So this deck is by Anna Stark, and she is out of Australia. And the illustrator is Lewis Dyer, who is also out of Australia. Yeah. So, we're seeing the information coming from them through their filter of their culture and their world in Australia. And the artwork is fantastic. But here is the very first card. The first card that was given to us today, and that is Lead the Way. Isn't that gorgeous? Lead the way. It says, light your own path. Light your own path. Speaking of light, I need to do something with mine. There we go. Hopefully it won't be as much of a glare on the card. There we go. It looks a little bit better. Lead the way. Light your own path. It's a deer, and yeah, one of my favorite cards in this deck. I'm going to also need to change something here. There we go. Hopefully that changed. I had to change my microphone. Okay. It's number 23 in the deck. Lead the way. Light your own path. It's talking about listening to ourselves. Listening to ourselves. I just wrote an article for Star Nations magazine. It's my editorial. And one of the topics in the September issue coming up is clairaudience, to be clairaudient, right? And this card certainly reminds me of that. Listen to yourself, lighting your own path. It's about embracing and trusting your own intuition, right? And I'm going to show a little bit closer so you guys can really see. All 4 legs of the deer is on the ground, which means that this message is really grounding, right? And if you notice the front 2 hooves, the front 2 legs, where the deer is standing, there's actually flowers growing. So there's a bit of creation here, right? Manifesting. Light language all over his body. Gorgeous, isn't it? Notice the glow around him. Looking directly at us. The horns illuminated. And is this receiving energy or is this sending energy out? Maybe it's both. And for horns, for me, horns is all about listening. It's all about that clairaudience. And notice the star, the bright star up in the sky, just above his head. Right? Light your own path. Listen to yourself. Trust yourself, right? The information that's coming through. Number 23 in the deck, which is a 5. And that's all about transformation, isn't it? Number 5, a little numerology in there. So what do we know? What do we know about deer without having to look anything up, right? Let's go from there. Look who's here. Rob is here. Greetings from YouTube land. Lant. Hey, Rob, good to have you here. And Barbara's here too. Hello, Barbara. Good to have you in the house, lady. So what do we know? What do we know about the deer totem or the deer power animal, right? It's very interesting. So how many people in the live chat know that they have the deer either as a totem or as a power animal? Okay, let me know. I do have deer in my repertoire, my spiritual team. My Misho, my grandfather on my mom's side, That was one of his animals. And so, yeah, so whenever I'm doing a drum making workshop, making a drum, I'm always seeing deer everywhere, right? I've even had them come up to, and when we're making drums outside, had them come up to the man-made lake that we were on to drink water midday, right? So yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Oh, Barbara's saying she does. Good, good. So when we're talking about the deer as a totem or as a power animal, right? What we're doing is we're talking about their characteristics and what they bring to us to enhance our earth experience, right? To help us out. So for me, deer is a very gentle animal, right? Usually. Although if you've ever watched deer fight, they can get really um, their hooves are extremely sharp, and the males, of course, they fight every fall because of mating season, but they can get pretty aggressive with each other. They really can. But generally speaking, deer are much more gentler across, when you're thinking about other animals, right? Like bear or wolf or something like that. The deer is much more gentle, and it's also a prey animal, right? There's a lot of deer, and the deer population and the wolf population are symbiotic. I didn't know if you guys knew that. If the deer population is low, the wolf population will be low, and vice versa. If the deer population is extremely high, the wolf population will be high because it's a natural predator for the deer population. Interesting, isn't it? But balance. That is, if us two-leggeds, us humans, don't get involved and screw things up for them. Oh my gosh, don't get me started on that, right? What does the hexagram suggest? That it both sends and receives. Ah, that's a good one. And deer can be very dangerous if provoked. Um, True, but they're usually more afraid of what's around them when they hear. They are usually, that fight or flight. Their natural is to flee, is the flight. They're gone like that, right? When they turn to fight, it's because there's no other way. There's no other way. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one, Deanna. One of those emoticons, and when you're driving, especially at night, right? Deer can be kind of scary for us two-leggeds in our cars when the deer are trying to cross the road or in the middle of the road. Yum, coffee. So I want to show you the card again. Okay, and so this is lead the way. This is the very first card today. We have two of them. It says light your own path. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself, meaning listen to your own thoughts, your own beliefs, right? To the information that's coming to you from spirit, your intuition. And these days, a lot of us have spent a lot of time with introspection, the earlier part of the year, right? Spending more time with ourselves, a little bit slower life flow, a little bit more time to do meditations or to ponder that self-reflection of what I want in my life and what don't I want in my life, right? And so with the horns here, with that information both being given and received, if you're clairaudient and you haven't embraced your intuitive gift of clairaudience, you might want to consider that a little bit more, you know, because clairaudience isn't exactly an easy clair to embrace. Now, I'm clairaudient. It's one of my primary clairs, and so that's how I get information from my spiritual team all the time. Sometimes it's like they're telling me a story. Other times they're very short and succinct. It's like, turn left, look over there. Those kinds of things. And other times, they spend a lot of time telling me about a situation or a place, right? Telling me the story. And it took me a while to embrace my clairaudience because, generally speaking, you don't want to you don't want to go around telling people that you're hearing voices, right? But when you begin to trust your own intuition, your own inner voice, the voice of the creator that resides inside of you, right? Yeah. And this card says light your own path. In other words, taking that information, that illuminating information, to feel and believe in your decisions that you're making, that's taking you down the best path, not the correct path, because every path is correct. Some more than others, right? Because it's really more about what experience do we want to have? Part of our journey. Right? Okay. So let's find out. Let's find out what the author has to say. She says, the faithful deer is a creature of deep sensitivity. With heightened senses and a strong fight or flight response, the deer is always alert to the environment around them. Their swiftness in response to potential threats allows them to escape any danger by running away at the slightest indication. This sensitivity and readiness of the deer requires a symbiotic relationship of trust of their physical senses. Okay. So basically, when I first read that piece, I was thinking, so it's not just our intuition we're trusting. We're also trusting the information that we are allowing in. Now think about this just a little bit, okay? We're living in a time frame where we have to really hone our skills of discerning of information that's coming to us, right? What's a truth? What's a fact? What's your truth, right? What's an untruth or a lie? And so we're getting to the point of really understanding what it feels like in our physicalness, in our mental mind, in our auric field when we are in the presence of the truth or a fact, or when we're in the presence of a lie. Right? And we're learning, remembering how to do that for ourselves rather than relying on an outside being, usually another two-legged, telling us that such and such is the truth, right? Yeah. Well, it's been that way for a while, honestly. But it has been, I think, a really more of a heightened occurrence since January, right? Yeah. Hey, Deb's here. Hi, Deb. Good to have you here. This is the first card, Deb, in case you missed it. It's number 23 in the deck, Lead the Way, Light Your Own Path. The deer is bringing to us information. We're talking about their characteristics, right? So now's the time to ask yourself, what is it that you truly want or need in your life right now? How do you want to light up your path? Right? In life, facing potential threats or confrontations is necessary and something we can't always avoid. Like the deer, you may instinctively react, choosing to run away from your problems. However, this will not help this situation improve. So we even have to discern that. What is it that is important to us to stand up for, right? And what are other things that, doesn't, we're more of a witness, or we're more of a watching, right? Watching it unfold. Being a part of the world, but not in it. You know that phrase? Yeah. And there's times when we do have to stand up, when we do have to use our voice, use our actions, right? Whether it's being more of a participant in it. A good friend of mine um, just recently found out that a telecommunications tower was going to be being put up in their neighborhood, and they didn't know anything. She didn't know anything about it, and it was a shocking, right? And there was supposed to be a vote, a council vote on it in her neighborhood, and what she did was she used technology and sent out everywhere possible, email, Facebook, to contact her neighbors and say, did you know this was happening? I didn't know this was happening. And so enough of them, over 50 people, got together and basically contacted their elected officials and said, what's going on? I didn't know anything about this. Where was this posted? Right? And so it is a prime example of a neighborhood using their voice, their actions, to tell their elected officials, wait a minute, you're not following procedure. We have to be told about this. This is going to change our property value, right? And so what happened? The mayor contacted as many of those neighbors as possible to let them know that the meeting was going to be rescheduled and that the government was going to hold a town hall meeting around this. And so, rather than just being a passive bystander and how much it was going to affect them, they decided to use their voice, their throat chakra, right? So we have to make those kind of decisions for ourselves. And how to best make that decision is to trust ourselves, right? How are you going to be involved? Are you going to be involved? We're not necessarily involved in all things, but what's important to you? What's important to you? So right now, you are being encouraged to connect strongly with your base instincts. What does your gut tell you about the situation? You must decide how you choose your approach. Do you need to face this person or situation, or can you remove yourself from the situation peacefully? Like the deer totem, you may need to hold a torch for others to be guided down a positive path or direction that has previously been hidden. It's important to assist others when they do not have a light to guide them. So as an energy worker, as a light worker, many times that's what we do, right? We use our experiences, our personal lives as an example, right? And we reach out. We reach out to give someone some sort of assistance. It could be just a note to them, a post to them, encouraging them, right? Or it could be you giving them some sort of resource. Try this or try that. I used this and it worked for me, right? And so you're sharing your experience, you're sharing your life experience, your life lessons. And when you're doing that, really what you're doing is you're sharing your wisdom with someone. Yeah, and you have to make that decision for yourself. Is that something that you want to do? Right? Is to be is to help someone else by saying, this is what happened for me, and this is how I lit my path. And it's up to them on whether or not they're going to use that illumination, right? The most important thing, I believe, is that we're actually sharing, that we're actually helping each other. All right. So the rest of it is, it's important to assist others when they do not have a light to guide them. Instinctively, you must learn to accept the changes in life and run peacefully with the flow of the universe. The affirmation is, I choose my own way forward. I am a guiding light. I choose my own way forward. I am a guiding light. Yeah. And it's very interesting. How many people in the chat feel like there's been a shift for them in recent months, that they feel more, shall I say, confident in trusting their intuition, learning what is important to them in order to decide, right? Much of that is about discerning, really honing that tool of discernment. Yeah. And as empaths, part of that gift is about being able to feel the emotions coming from other people, right? And so when we use that gift to help us to discern what's a truth, what's a lie, right? To be able to do that. And here in the States, we also have an election year, presidential election, and of course others, representatives and senators and that sort of thing. But it's politics gets kind of down and dirty to begin with, right? But I think this year it's going to be even more so, and more important that we can discern for ourselves what is a truth for us, and what is a lie that's being told to us, or a truth that's being told to us. It's really important. And some people, I understand some people will want to not be a part of it, is to step aside and just watch it happen. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just we have to make that decision for ourselves. Deb is saying, without question, I'm listening and acting on that little inner voice, and also encouraging others to do the same. Good for you, Deb. Good for you. I can say with really 95%, well, 98%, I'm hearing 98% is that that inner voice that I hear, right? When Spirit's talking to me, every time I have decided something that is directly opposite of what I'm hearing, or what what's being given to me, I have been 100% wrong. I have been very wrong. And experiencing the consequences of that, right? So I learned over the years, over the decades, is that when that information comes in, I heed the information. I might ask for clarification, but I heed it. Yeah. Barbara is saying, I felt the need to move from involvement in a group to be myself, sitting with me now and waiting. Yeah. And that's that discernment, right, Barbara? That's the discernment. And when we're talking about discernment, just that word and that action, for me, discernment means that I am turning to my higher self, my authentic self, my soul, right? And I'm asking that highest aspect of myself to help me to see this with some clarity. What's really going on here? What's the best path for me to choose to have this experience? Which experience is most important to participate in, right? And so really it's listening to our higher self. That's the discernment, getting that information. What's really going on here? Show me, tell me, you know? So, yeah, it's our highest self. Oh, oh, I did that one. Thank you, Barb, for sharing that. Hey, Violet's here. Good to have you here, Violet. And Barbara's saying, yes, spirit soul work, where I am. That's right. And over these past months, we have, I have to say that it's been really apparent that we are in a place of discernment, right? Yeah. So for those who've just joined us, this is the first card for this week. Lead the way. Listen to yourself, light your own path. And I really like that star right above the deer's head. When I was sitting with this morning, it reminded me of the North Star. The North Star, right? It's one of those stars in the sky, Polaris, that many people have learned how to use that star to navigate by, right? Yeah. Hmm. And and notice the branding that we use here at Star Nations. The single star, right? That's the North Star. And I chose that years and years ago amongst all kinds of other possibilities that we could have used, because the North Star for me is part of that seeking, right? Part of being a spiritual seeker is seeking our due north. It's our way of being able to find our way, spiritually speaking. And so this is what this is showing us, learning how to discern for ourselves so that we can light up our own path that we're on, illuminating it with the assistance and the help of spirit. Because we're co-creating, right? We're co-creating. We're not by ourselves. And the next card we've never had before. Violet saying, yes, I've been having 2 conversations in my head. I know. Me too. It's like when I'm falling asleep is when a lot of times I'll hear very plainly from my spiritual team some information, right? Yeah. And the other night I heard, I can help you. And I said, great. Who are you? What are you helping me with? What can you help me with? And actually, it was my health. I've been working on something for more balance with the diabetes and that kind of thing and helping my legs. And so they gave me some information, which is really helpful and has been really working for me. So, yeah. And that's trusting your intuition, right? Trusting your spiritual team, trusting yourself. Here's the second card. Eternal union. Eternal union. And that's new love is forming. It's talking about strengthening your relationships. Eternal union. And for some people, it might be a very romantic card. But, just looking at the imagery here, right? The swirling, being in that vortex, that spiral. You could say sacred feminine, sacred masculine. Noticing the feminine hand on the masculine heart. It's about intuition again, right? The sacred feminine. Notice the sacred masculine, how his head is much more illuminated, right? Much more mental thought there. And in the embrace, Number 6 in the deck, or 15, I'm sorry, 15 in the deck, which is number 6. Eternal union. New love is forming. New love is forming. In other words, it's being created, right? It's not a done deal yet. It's in the process of being created. It's kind of like in the betwixt and the between. And, that's where that Celts say that's where the magic is in the in between. Yeah. I found it to be a very energizing card. I'm going to try to get my camera to focus here. And look at at the sacred geometry in the background. Right? There's that bright star right above the female's ear area. No coincidence. Right? And when you talk about manifesting, creating, there is something about that connection to the sacred geometry. With sacred geometry, within Metatron's cube in the flower of life, Metatron's cube holds the platonic solids. There's 5 platonic solids within that. I call them my platonic friends. And really what they are they are the building blocks of all life. And so whenever we are manifesting, when we're creating, and we just have that idea, right? It's just forming in our minds. It's a thought. It's like one of those, I wonder. And it starts to take form. And we are calling on our spiritual team and we're saying, letting them know this is something I'd like to create, right? And we're going to send it out there to the universe for that law of attraction, right? That magnetism. So what are we doing? We're sending it out to the 6th dimension where the sacred geometry resides, where all things are created. And so look at in the background, right? They're saying that new love is forming. It's being created. It's being created. And I would add in a balanced way between the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine. Right? All right. So here is what the author has to say. She says, in a lifetime, we are destined to meet many members of our soul group and soul family. Many of them enter through life as a soulmate, fated to teach us lessons about unconditional love in ourselves. A soulmate can be a friend, family member, work colleague, partner, neighbor, or someone you strongly disagree with, clashing with every time you are around each other. When a soulmate enters your life, they offer your soul support, guidance, and growth, whether physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Depend upon what your soul needs. A soulmate may be a brief encounter, or this relationship could last a lifetime. Acting as a catalyst for growth, these souls are here to teach you something new. So right now, you are being encouraged to actively listen to others. For those who despise or see as enemies, view these people as possible soul connections. They are there to teach you life lessons and challenge your structured belief systems. The expression of eternal union between two souls will bring you new levels of love on an emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual connection. True love is limitless. Okay. Now you wonder, I read that and I looked at it and I looked at both cards and I was thinking, okay, so what's the whole message here? First, we get illuminate your own path, right? In other words, listen. And in the second card, we're being told, you to listen to others, that you're not alone in this, that you have others around you that could be a soul mate helping you with your life lessons. So when I took that in, we're still discerning for ourselves. We have to discern, are they part of my soul group, my soul family? Is this a soul mate? Not necessarily always in a romantic sense, the love of your life kind of thing. Or perhaps it is that somebody that just, rubs you the wrong way every time you see them. And those that give you the most heartburn, the most pain, the most bring you to your knees kinds of situations. And you try to flee from them, right? So many times those are soulmates that on a soul level, when we chose to have this physical experience, you ask them to play a certain part for you, and vice versa, that you play a certain part for them, right? That many times those that give us the most heartache here in this physical world are the ones that love us the most, because they're giving us the opportunity for that soul growth. I know when you're right in the middle of something and it hurts emotionally, you're thinking that's not love. That's not. I get that. But in a soul connected kind of way, you're being offered a huge opportunity for soul growth. Right? Doesn't mean that you have to be taken advantage of and put in an unsafe situation, but is to put that in perspective, is like, what is this that I'm learning about here? It's that discernment. Right? I know. Look at this. And we can also put it in this way, is that this could be you loving you. This is the balance of you as the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine. Bringing the polarity together, right, into that unified field. Which illuminates your path in a positive way, right? Yeah. Barbara's saying could be loving both parts of ourselves. Exactly. That's what I got from it, Barbara. Hey, Jocelyn, good to have you here. So, and we've talked about this before on many different occasions, on different shows here at the Spiritual Roundtable, is how we love ourselves, right? How much, when you love yourself, you trust yourself, right? Wouldn't you say that's true? That when you love yourself and you respect yourself and you take care of you, right? That you trust your intuition, you trust yourself. And so when it comes to the discerning of other things that are going on in your life with other people, other two-leggeds, that you're coming from a place within yourself that is balanced, right? That feels whole. WHOLE, right? That's what I got out of these cards today. is that when we're doing our discernment, when we do that, when we're coming from that place of balance, that it's much easier to discern what is the truth for us and what is a lie. And we have to be able to do that for ourselves many, many times throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout the month. And I think we're going to need that skill even more in the near future. So why not start honing it now, right? Turning your attention to it. Finding out about what it feels like to you in your mind, body, and spirit when you're standing in front of a truth, or when you're standing in front of a lie. What does it feel like? Right? So that you can discern. At a soul level, you're discerning that. It's a skill. It's something that we already have. It's not like something that we have to go out and purchase. We came in with this. We're remembering how to use it, how to lean into it, right? Yeah. And we can have conversations around it, right? Like my friend who was having found out about that communications tower going up. Well, it's not up yet. I think there might be some changes around that. And sitting with it for a moment, because it was so shocking. And then she shared it with her close friends. And we were able to, give her some suggestions. But, it was really up to her to make that decision. Am I going to be active in this? Am I supposed to be a witness of it? What is this for me? And discerning it for herself. And once she made the decision, she discerned it for herself. Then when she shared that with us, we were able to support her in her decision to be more active with it, and giving her some, some suggestions. Remembering your feng shui, remembering your allies and your tools, right? Remembering to be grounded, centered, and protected. And then I also added in there, because I was an elected official. I don't know if you guys know that about me. I was a politician at one time. Years ago, I was a village trustee for where we lived down near Madison, Wisconsin, in a little town called Poinette, for 2 years. It was a 2-year stint. And I lost my second go round in it by 6 votes. It's all right. But I learned a lot from that experience. And from that experience, I was able to let my friend know there's certain things that have to happen before construction like that occurs. It should have been sent to a town hall meeting. It should have been open for public comment, right? And so that they can check to see what their guidelines are within their own neighborhood and community, and to remind those elected officials that they work for the people, that they were elected by the people and not by a corporation, right? And so, yeah, well, you know how that goes. But we're able to support her in that. Yeah. Rob's saying, did you just tell me to go love myself? I certainly did. I did, and in a good way. In a good way. All right, I'm looking at the time. I want to make sure that you guys have enough time to join Minnie Kansman for Nature Connection. She's coming up right after this show, and I love this conversation. I'm going to show you both cards together, okay? And one of the things that we have learned at the Spiritual Roundtable in the last 3 years doing this together is that when I show you the cards together, it's a very important and a very powerful moment, okay? And what we've learned is that to get as much of the information as possible for yourself in an optimal way is to be grounded, centered, and protected. So if you haven't grounded today, Just take a moment. Just take a moment, check in with yourself. And if it feels like you're not grounded, is to imagine being grounded to Grandmother Earth. Okay. Being connected to her. And then when that feels good to you, is just take a nice deep breath in. And when you exhale, is calling to your full spiritual team. All of your guides, guardians, teachers, allies, nature spirits, totems, power animals, your ancestors, star beings, your whole team to come close, because they're always with you, but you're turning your attention to them, right? And asking them to come close and to help you to bring in the information from the cards that's meant for you in an optimal amount, in an optimal way. Okay. And we'll give you a moment just to do that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take a drink of coffee. All right. You ready? Okay. Now here's the two cards together. Right? So lead the way. Light your own path. And the internal union, new love is forming. So with the deer energy, noticing the horns, and this is about listening to our own intuition, trusting ourselves, discerning for ourselves, taking in the information. And here's an and. On the medicine wheel, deer are found in the spirit of the east, on the eastern door. And that's all about new beginnings, right? And so here we have the eternal union, where new love is forming. And really what I got from that card was this is about the balance between our sacred masculine and sacred feminine within ourselves. Finding that balance. When you do that, you are bringing together the polarity, right? In that unified field, which is found in the heart. So that when you are discerning that information, when you're going to your higher self to discern, you're bringing in that information into your unified field. So you can make your own decisions, lighting up your own path with the help of spirit, your spiritual team. And if you notice on the deer down at the feet, the front feet, there's flowers growing. It's in that creation. Right? Oops. There you go. Very interesting reading this week, which is a little bit different from what it was last week. This one is a lot of going within and trusting ourselves, trusting our own information, intuition, and taking in information so that we can discern. Right? I love it. You've been reformed. I don't know about that. Maybe. Hey, Pat, good to have you here. So with this information and with the conversation, what I always suggest is that whatever resonated with you, right, is to embrace that, embrace it, bring it close, and then watch, sense, feel, see how the energy is unfolding around you this week and where this information may be helpful to you, right? But you know what? If it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It's okay. No worries. Maybe you're the messenger. Maybe that's why you were brought to this particular live stream, so that you can send it over to a friend or a family member or somebody that you think or you feel like this is for them. You know, we were just talking about something like this, and there is this lady called Neshi that is talking about the same thing, right? So you can be helpful in that way, and then you're done. So, um, I want to thank you guys for being with me today for the Spiritual Roundtable. I love these conversations that we have together. And it's so enlightening so many times, isn't it? Yeah. What's Jocelyn saying? She goes, love the cards, the colors, and the meaning. Me too. Me too. She says, both cards were full of a lot of energy. Yes, they are. And, you know, the energy felt to me, Jocelyn, um, calming almost a peaceful feeling around it, right? Powerful, but they weren't like a fire energy, right? Because fire energy can be very hot and very explosive, right? Yeah. This was so much calmer. And I think it was the deer energy that was calming. All right. So please come back next week, Wednesday, for the Spiritual Roundtable, where we'll pull some more cards and we'll have another spiritual conversation. I encourage you to come and join us with Minnie Kansman for Nature Connections, which is coming up next. Okay. Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.